Ready? Jean? Jean is ready too? No, she's not ready. It is 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to the before the adoption of the agenda. 11.5 New Horizons. We should remove that. So we need a motion to adopt the agenda. I move that we should also add behind closed doors a matter concerning staffing. I move that we adopt the agenda with changes. Seconded. All in favor say aye. Contrary minded nay. Carried. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? There being none. Number 3, presentations. Upper Clements Park, Gino Thibault. It's a PowerPoint that you're going to be using. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for allowing us to speak to you tonight. We need microphone. That's better. Okay, that's good. I'm Gino Thibault. I'm Director General of the Upper Clements Park. I'm very happy to be here this evening to talk a bit about the year 2014 and our strategic plan we've just come out with. So we'll be open afterwards to questions about anything you like. Thank you. These are the members of the board of directors of the park. David Brown is still president. Vice president is Ray Dempsey. Lolita Cromwell is secretary treasury, and she's a representative for the county of Annapolis. And then there's Digby and Clare, and then there are other people from Digby County who are members. 2014, we saw the retirement of the director, Mr. Greg Gall. I began my term on the 19th of June. The season had already begun. There were 2 private operators in the park. There was Luce Caboose and the Maison Bleue, or Blue House. Also, we incorporated body expression in the UCP services, which means that we bought body expressions. These are temporary tattoos. We also changed fire people enter for free to include all emergency services. This would include policemen and women and ambulance personnel. Upper Clements, we continued our partnership with the Special Olympics, Family SOS, and another organization. We invite them and their families to the park. We give them bracelets which give them access to all the rides. We give a free meal in addition, so that means they have a day with everything included, and this is really a good event. 3 really agreeable days. All the staff has fun. We also have a partnership with the libraries of Nova Scotia. Last year we gave out 5,000 fast passes for the reading program. The children read a book and they get a ticket to come. 5,000 passes is a lot, but That program has increased by 200% since we've become involved. It's a good program. It's a program we want to support in the future because people come and the parents come as well. We are always proud to encourage local talents, musicians, dancers, gymnasts. I could name quite a few. Every year we invite. What is the name of the group from Clare? The Béangeois. Thank you. Every year they came twice last year. It's really a good show. We had 65,000 visitors. We employed 175 persons. We had 68 days of operation in 2014, which is less than in 2013. In 2013 was a year when we had minimal operations. There was the Arthur. We were famed for 5 days because we had no electricity. We would have been ready to open the next morning, but everything works with electricity. With no electricity, nothing works. None of the rides were damaged. There were 50 trees, and that doesn't count the adjoining parks, the picnic park. And they were blown down. I stopped counting them in the other parks. Strategic plan. The 7 priorities, I concentrated especially on this. You've received a copy of this strategic plan, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't want to go into all the details, but the 7 points are, I think it's important to note them and to show what we want to do on those points. To determine the necessary capital investments to complement the excellent operation with the marketing, look for new sources of sales, invest for efficiency and profit, explore opportunities for investment, improve how we measure what we're doing, and the last point, determine what the necessary capital investments are and the priorities. We set up a committee for that, and that's where we are on that one. That's for future investments. The necessary investments for right away, we already know what they are. To complement the existing operational excellence with marketing. So we'll create a position in marketing that will be permanent. We will try to measure the notoriety of the brand to get hire a high-profile consultant, increase the number and quality of partnerships, and look towards outside markets. At the moment, we're going to create a position not directly in marketing, meant to take care of special events, the media, and shows in the park. We want to create another position that would be a permanent one in marketing. Looking research and development for nouveau sources of sales. We've set up a planning committee for that, and right away we are integrating the outside businesses in these services. Last year it was body expression. This year there won't be any changes.
The artisans, they come back to the park. In investments on the efficiency
Which
of profits. We to buy more equipment for the restaurant, of high efficient restaurant, get a better equipment for where you sell selling points, and the games have a better appearance and have some models that are more efficient. Explore investment opportunities, infrastructures, investment fund for the economic community development, in private investors, or uh, also a program for small and business in Nova Scotia and credit. Also have better process for auto evaluation on how we operate. Measure the utilization of the rides and the buildings. Right now, this is quite limited now for restoration services. They are very specific. The rides are not quite as well managed. The system of to measure the support the evaluation for replacement and repairs, utilization of Google Analytics. I don't know how to put it in French. Have better evaluation of, after investments, especially for marketing expenses, and keep statistics on the number of visitors from each region. We're a bit limited in the data we have now per regions. This is something we'd like to modify our system so that we can have better statistics. So we're gonna revise the way we govern. The plan to keep on the administrations, see how we will assure the continuity of this. We have to go over the rules and the governance, and whether or not we should stay with a non-profit organization or look at another alternative. But we need a professional to look this over to guide us here. And in the future, we gotta open a tunnel between the amusement park and the adventure park. When we had the wildlife park, there was a tunnel, so we're gonna reopen that tunnel, not right now, so that people can circulate freely from one park to the other. We will also have Kenji Pizza and Sub from where it is now to the Blue House, where the artisans are now. When you get into the park, it's right there, so it's to give them a better visibility. Where if will they'll be more visible, the artisans there, if they are, so they can expose their wares much better, so we can help them have more sales. And we're gonna also change the Clementine house to the old school, where the Clementine house was years past. It was an old school, but the house Clementine, which is the yellow house where children go to play, it would be better to go in the school. It would be more logical, so we're just gonna change these So body expression will go in the Clementine house. We're gonna the boulangerie in the fun zone in that building. And if you know where the Call of the Wild is, Jake's Landing will go where the boulangerie is, and there will be a pub in Jake's Landing. Jake's Landing. That's where all the doors open. There was a big fireplace. The kitchen is in the middle of the building, so we'll have one kitchen that will be common to the pub and the boulangerie. It will be something for the adults to do. We will also open one of the trails in the adventure park. There's 5 different trails, and 3 of them looking for my French word. Well, a work post. It would be, there's 2 of these trails. One of them where people, if they want to go just zipline, they will have access to this one. They won't have to go through all the different trails. So it'd be sort of a minimal trail. This has been asked by quite a few people. So we have a partnership in 2015 with the Ground Search and Rescue of Annapolis, Digby and Clare. We offered them our infrastructure, and we already had the pleasure of receiving them there for workshops. There was one a couple of weeks ago. They came, they spent the night there on the mountain, and the width of all where we have the proper infrastructure in the park where they can practice. There's a service for autistic children. They need a place that like a park to practice some of their things, different heights, rescue operations. So this is our place. It's not something that we charge for them to use this, because it comes back to the community so they can practice their maneuvers. Another big change before we pass to the questions, we have changed our website towards the end of the year. It became active in October. It was a big change for us, and also we started to identify our employees who are bilingual on their name tags, because we noticed there are a lot of people from here and other places that we wanted to accommodate with the French language. So we're making an effort. Eventually it would be to have signs everywhere that are bilingual. That will take a little bit more time. Do you have any questions?
It opens on the 10th of June. The adventure park will open at the end of May. When does you close usually? The amusement park will close on Labor Day. the adventure park continues. Our objective would be to be open all year. The company that did the park, the Prism, a company from France, Prisme, they did our park, and they also did the Mount Tremblant Park, and it's open all year. So that, yes, there's a market, but we just have to develop it a bit more. Another change will be bringing in our mountain bikes. Those of you who know Upper Clements know that in former years, when the government had it, there were 18 kilometers of cross-country skiing trails on top of us, so to speak. We presently have a letter from the government giving us the right to use those trails. We have to clean them, and we can use them as mountain bike trails and walking trails. And in the winter, back to cross-country skiing. Yeah, like in Westlock. In the winter it's ski, in the summer it's bicycles. Before I came to Nova Scotia, I was the director of a skiing center in New Brunswick, so I know that part of the business. Are there any other questions? It's just a comment. I was for the zip lining course. I did the whole course with all the challenges, and I was really tired, but I was really pleased afterwards. It was a thrill to be able to do that. It was really enjoyable. I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed that. Well, thank you very much. The adventure park was created there, and it's of a really in its own category all by itself. We took the time to do a really good job on that. It's really a lot of fun because each person determines his or her own challenge. It's an interesting concept. We're really lucky to have something big like that. People who came from the Magdalen Islands? No, Saint-Pierre and Miquelon. One of the professors who came with them had done adventure parks all through Europe, and she told us that it was the best one that she'd ever done. So that was really fun to hear. I think you should all come and try it. Maybe I will issue challenges to all the members of the board as to who can complete the course. You begin not very high and you go higher and higher. Even for those who are afraid of heights, you go at your own rhythm. If it's too much for you, you can go around some of the obstacles. Last year or the year before, we had someone who was 92 years old who did the whole 5. He went around a few little things, but he did the whole course. And there was another one who was 84. So it's something to try. How high is the highest? I'm not sure. There's one of the towers which is higher than 40 feet, but there's when you zip, there's a plank that comes out and you're higher, and you're over a ravine, and you don't have, because you're zipping, you don't have the time to see. It begins gradually, and you only get there by the end. By the time you get there, you're more confident in of the equipment. You know, if it's too much, it's too much. Some people have begin and then they don't complete it. You challenge yourself. You go with a group, but you challenge yourself. Hector, you had a question. How big is the park? All of them together. The amusement park is 75 acres. We have 11 acres on the side, which is a picnic park, and the adventure park is 177. That's our lands. If you add the provincial land, where we have the trails, there's 800 acres. That gives us about 1,000 acres of trails. It's a big piece of land. Are there any other questions? Since Gino has been there, there's a lot of good ideas. There's a good group that we work together with, and we meet once a month. We're meeting tomorrow. It's kind of a unique park, and it's managed by a group of volunteers. That's kind of unique. I was at a conference in Florida for amusement parks. We're the only one. All the others are for-profit. They're big companies, multinational companies. We're unique in what we are, and given that it's all volunteers who take the time out to manage a big company like that, it's impressive. So that's all then. Thank you for your presentation, and I'm sure we'll all come to visit you this summer. Very good. Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask if you want a copy of the slides be in the minutes. We didn't get a copy in advance. I have maybe the time to take care of that, to make a copy. So 3.2 RCMP report, Sergeant Jeff Holmes. Thank you for the invitation. My backup today is Sergeant Dan Godet. You perhaps know Dan. Thank you for having us. If it doesn't cause any problem, is there any problem in speaking to you in Acadian? Oh, that's fine. So for those of you who know me, I was born in Yarmouth. I lived in Grosse Coq, and then in Comoville, and then in Soniaville Station. And then after that, Regina. And about a month ago, I was asked in Uminas whether I would like to come to Clare. Could you put the microphone a little closer? So the commander at Uminas asked whether I wouldn't mind coming to Meteghan to help Jeff, and it took me about 2 seconds to say yes. I've been here for 3 weeks, and it's a lot of fun to work for the community. It's quite different to come back here and to work. So thank you very much. Oui,
Tomorrow.
oui, c'est ton tour.
We're gonna go number 4, adoption of minutes from meetings. The one of February 18, 215, the hearing of objections for the bylaws. Are there errors or omissions? Moved by Danny. The meeting from the 18th February, which was the regular council meeting, are there any errors or omissions? Proposed by Neil, seconded by Hector. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. The 4th of March 215 special session of council. March 4th, are there errors or omissions? Proposed by Lester, seconded by Hector. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. 4th of March 2015, council and committee meeting. Are there errors or omissions there? Proposed by Neil, seconded by Roussel. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. Number 7, business arising from previous council meetings. Clare Community Energy Enterprise. The intermunicipal agreement in the meeting of committee council 2 weeks ago. We had that in our package. We discussed it a bit, but we can bring it back to give chance to council members to look at it in more detail. And if I understand, the committee had met, and our members are Hector and Lester, and they concluded that we should sign it, but at the last meeting we did bring up certain concerns, and speaking with colleagues in Digby who also have certain concerns regarding this, we are trying to set up a meeting maybe on Friday morning with Ben Cleveland, Connie and I, and saying all of this. It would be your opportunity to talk a bit about this agreement. If it was the desire of council, we could sign it, but I think we had the indication that there remained a bit of work to be done on this subject. Number 28, it says is this a concern, this particular, it says enterprise. That wasn't there. It was number 8. I think for me it's a concern because what's happening that you establish a committee. Let's say we have 2 members out of 6, and in the we can have up to 9 on a committee of 9 if we have 2 members, and the enterprise has the authority to borrow money from the finance corporation, but so we're giving a lot of authority to a committee. That's my opinion. There are 3 members from Digby, 1 for Clare. If we want 2 from each district, it says that the majority carries the vote. So the town and the municipality of Digby are overrepresented in a way, not only for this but for many decisions that have to be taken. Yeah, it's a concern to me.
The other problem is that if you look at the financial percentages, in terms of percentages, the municipality of Clare has 40% with 33 of the membership, There are concerns. I don't think our concerns are that different from those of the town of Digby. I'm in agreement with what you say. With that power, I'm not sure what section it is, upon English. Essentially, if it doesn't work out well, and it all comes to an end, Clare would be responsible for 40% of all the debts and liabilities. In principle, we were all right with signing an agreement if there's not too much risk. As far as I'm concerned, it would be a good agreement to sign, but the risks do concern me. You know, we don't have 8.3 million to invest in these big projects. We can support projects, but financially, I don't think really we can supply large amounts for projects like that. But to support, that would be fine. There's a lot of information that's not there. We you know, 40%. There's a lot of information that's missing. What Councillor Thibault says, in addition to that, I understood that this was just to incorporate a name to come up with a plan afterwards. Now, when you read this, they're there, but it sounds like it's a bit more than what we started out with. So I'm not sure whether we want to be there. You know, we don't have the numbers. It's hard to say. I don't just feel altogether at ease with this. There are other points, like 35. They say that they want decision within 1 day. These are things like that you have to make a decision within a day. It seems to me it would be 2 weeks to give the council the time to meet and examine the question. And number 40, it's not clear to me. I'm not too easy with that. Shall be credited to the enterprise and shall be in addition to. It becomes more and more that's asked of us. And in addition to what? And if we sign something, we're stuck with it. If we're not 100% sure of it. So I think to have a meeting on Friday to talk about this and make sure we're all on the same page. We are meeting Wednesday in the committee of the council. Perhaps at that time you would have ideas as to how we could change this agreement. We're meeting only on Wednesday. Now, Digby decided to sign the agreement, but talking with the town, it would be important to meet them to see if they had the same concerns as we did and whether we can address them instead of just be saying that we're not comfortable with this and stopping right there. There are solutions. The reason they approached us to have an agreement is to set it up, to have a business plan, and to be able to come back afterwards and say that this to say what things will cost. So we're going to put ourselves in the position of seeing ahead of time what it was, and that wasn't what the intention of the council was. If we sign, it's to go ahead, but this is already very far ahead of where we were. Before we sign any agreement, we have to be clearer about this. So if we Ben and the CEO at the next meeting of the council, we can see where we are. Digby already signed it. The municipality said yes, they were ready to sign it. It's the way it's written now. The liability risk is very high. It's not clear. You talk about borrowing money and you're responsible for 40%. So if they borrow 10 million, 40% is a large amount. So could we have problems? It's hard to tell. There's definitely a risk. The way it's written, that doesn't mean it probably not. That wasn't the intent, probably. Perhaps what we need is just a few more clarifications concerning how it was written. So if you're all in agreement, we'll organize a meeting and we'll put this on the next agenda. Request for leave, application for leave. Robert has left for some time. He's asking for a leave of absence. In his application, he would leave the 25th of March till the first weekend of May. I think he meant February 25 because he's already absent. So we would need a motion from the council to approve this leave. Some councillors asked me whether he wanted to be paid or not paid. He doesn't indicate whether he wants to be paid. We don't have a policy, but in the past, when other councillors asked for, other employees asked for leave, it was paid. But we could ask to be informed whether he expects to be paid or not. According to the letter he sent to me, it's an email, it would be March 25, but his intention was the 25th of February because he's already gone and it's been 3 or 4 weeks. It says, and will return on the first weekend in May. So the first thing, do you want to grant him leave? I would make a motion to grant him leave, but unpaid leave. Is there a seconder? Was it the...
May.
So the motion is asking for leave of absence, but not paid. Is there discussion
Yes.
on the motion?
What happens if he arrives earlier? Connie, if there is confusion, we're going to ask this to be clarified. If the motion says, or should probably be more specific, we have, we can ask him from the end of March until May. So the motion is according to that information, but in reality, we know that on the 18th of February we had a meeting here, and he was indicating that within 2 or 3 days he left. But yet we have a right to have vacations. This is the information I have. We can go to vacation for 2 weeks, but according to me, I wouldn't mind you paying me a vacation for 2 months, but it's the taxpayers that are paying. So you want the specific if the motion is according to those dates, because those are the dates we have. He left on the 18th. So do you second the motion according to those dates? He was not here the first meeting in March. He wasn't there. And we had one on the 25th. What was the date of the first meeting in March? It was 4th. Your meeting of the council and committee was March 4th, but we did have a meeting. He was gone then, so he can't put the 25th because he was gone before the 25th. I think we have to make the motion according to those dates, even though we knew he was not here. You second the motion with the dates there. Is there any more discussion on this? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Motion carried. On 27th of February there was a supper in Cornwallis. It was with Honourable Governor from Heritage, their mayor and wardens of Kings County and Argyll, to discuss projects for Canada Day 2017, which is based on legacy. They're trying to put together some regional projects, and I think at the next meeting there will be a bit of information on this. On 3rd and 4th of March there was a meeting of the board of CDNE. On March 6th there was Rendezvous de la Francophonie provincial launch, and there was on the 7th of March at the Woodland Conference at the Legion. It was a big success. There was around 140 people, which was one of the biggest conferences that they ever had. On 12th of March there was a dinner with council at the high school. It was hard for a lot of people to come, but Hector and Lester came, and I think it was a good experience with the students. And honestly, I think we'll have an invitation to go in May for another lunch with them at the high school. And March 16th, there was a meeting with the Minister of Health, Glavine, at the villa. He came to see the villa, and we met Lucille there. On 18th of March, there was supper for the Société Acadienne de Clare for artists and artisans. It was the 11th supper. They have one every year, and it was also the official opening of the Clare Festival. And on March 25th, there was research at Université Saint-Anne, and there was Yellow and another professor who made a presentation. They wanted success of health. This presentation was made in Montreal this summer, and they were invited to go out west to explain the model and how Clare is faring in this. He made a small presentation of 10 minutes, but it was a presentation of over an hour. It would be interesting to have this. It was published in journals, and he's promoting us as a model for French services. And he said they're trying to find another place where it has been done, and they couldn't find any. Number 7, official presentation from members of council. If not, correspondence for Transport de Clare. We received the letter. Agora que chora em nenhum. Depois pode ler o conselho. Telefonar para. Ok.
So that's more or less an item for the budget. And Clarendon said I could say that here, that if we give him the increase, we won't be seeing him again for 3 years. So we don't need to take a decision this evening. We can deal with that at budget time. I would make a comment. I will say, I've said it before, when we have a good service at a very reasonable cost compared to other communities, if we give 20,000, it's a bargain. We're very lucky in this, and with an aging population, the needs are much higher. So I think this is something that we need to support and that we need to continue to support. Are there any other comments? I would just like to say that they're visible everywhere. You see them in Belleville Cove or Weymouth. I think you'd think there were 10. If money comes from somewhere else, if you put in a number $25,000 and they bringing in over 400,000, I think the money that comes in from outside, I think this is a very small amount that's being asked for. I would have a hard time not supporting it. Lester? I would second that. They do really good work, that's sure. In the budget, we're not going to jump into the budget. We won't deal with the request this evening in detail. We'll look at the details under our own budget, so in terms of the letter, but we won't look at the financial details this evening, if that's acceptable to the council. The Yarmouth looked at transit. Microphone. Oh, it's Clare in the corner. 9. Report from the CAO. I will report on the Metegan sewer system extension. We have not anything new on that from the Build Canada Fund concerning whether our application is approved. We're still hoping for positive news and to have an answer on that. With the Rendezvous La Baie, the renovations are going ahead through CORD. It would be the Lisate Cafe. That's going ahead. The opening is for the first week of April, but because of all the storms and the snow, it caused some delays. The hope now is that it will open soon, and there will be announcements of that. The municipality of Clare organizational study was completed by the Richard G. Rancy Management Consultants, Inc. This report was accepted by the Council at a special session on the 4th of March. I will read this in English. The document was very positive. It was a good report, and the Ramsey firm will assist us in the implementation of the recommendations that will be approved by the council. And if somebody wants to see the report, there's a copy on our website under What's New. On staffing, one of the recommendations in the report was to eliminate the position which existed and which still exists as payroll clerk and accounts payroll assistant. That position was temporarily empty in any case because of a resignation. The consultant suggests that we eliminate that position and replace it with a new director of finance. This position was advertised in the journals and the Career Beacon in the newspapers, and we did the interviews today, and we hope to have news on this very soon concerning the candidate who will be chosen. Another matter is Sam Doucet, who works under economic development. He was asked to sit as a dragon for the Soirée des Dragons 2015, which will occur tomorrow evening at l'Université Sainte-Anne. Are there any questions? A question for the extension of the sewer system in the Canada Building Fund. You say that you think that the reply will be positive. We hope. Is there someone that you communicate with? One can ask, but the answer is that the application is in the system. We know that the criteria for our project meets the criteria to receive funding, but until it's announced, I don't think there's been any announcements. We won't know until then. It should come out pretty soon. The spring is already here, but the contractors would like to begin. Certainly, they can work fairly late. At first, we thought it was an issue because the Department of Transport had they were going to do paving under capital projects, but we received the news that that will be done next year. It will be under the projects for next year, so there's not so much of a hurry now because we were going to cut pavement that had all just been laid down. They worked fairly late until the asphalt stopped being applicable in late October, I think. The engineers are ready to go to tender right away when we get news.
Anybody else has any questions? If no, we go to the committee reports. The building committee report, Danny. There's no meeting for Clare Economic Development. Do you have anything for planning? Recreation Committee? Hey. We met on the 28th of February. On the 26th of February we met. We approved funds for the development of the arboret for people to obtain their certification in gymnastics, because gymnastics is starting here in Clare. There was a big request for this. We gave $350 to Rachel Dugas, $100 to Jennifer Manasso, and $260 to Brenda Robichaud, who will become trainers in gymnastics. The committee approved $200 for program recreation for Denise Robichaud to become an instructor of yoga, chair yoga, and then to teach it in Clare, because there's also a request for this. Also, the volunteer banquet will be at April 16th in the Legion in Solieville. You're all invited. I think most of the councillors will be there. There are motions in also in the new business that we will make for recreation. Tourism, Robert is not here. Lester, is there any meetings? No. Villa, Brian, no. Waste check. The meeting is, waste check is on Monday. New business, transfer station disposal fees for residential and commercial. It was time to produce the cards with new amounts, fees for recycling. Last year the cost went up, so we recommend that they don't go up this year because they went up last year. I don't really need a motion for this. Do you agree with this? Recreation Committee, new motion. As you know, we had organization review, and one of the things that was indicated in the report is the elimination of certain committees, and recreation is one of them. Council has not taken any decision if whether we will be doing this or not, but saying this, I don't know if it would be a good idea to appoint members now because of this. The point was brought up at the meeting, and everybody agreed that we should wait to see how council will react regarding the recommendations of the report. If the committee will stay in place, then we will find new members. If not, we'll decide later on. So I don't know, for our next meetings, maybe we won't have a quorum. That's what's going to happen. So I think council should make a decision and accept them, and then if we eliminate this committee, then we will eliminate it. If we're 6 members and there's 2 missing, there's still a quorum with 3 councillors and 1 member of the public. If the meeting tomorrow night, we can discuss this, but I think for now we should not accept new members. We're not saying tonight that we're going to eliminate that committee. I think council has to look at the recommendations, to examine them carefully, and when speaking with recreation, what is best for that department. Maybe it is a different type of committee with different reference points. I think council should have this discussion before we decide. It's up to you to decide, though. I think this is a discussion we must have regarding the committee. There's no terms of reference for that committee. I don't know, I can't talk for council, but it is a concern if you say that a certain branch of the population cannot speak that language because and
Hmm. Oh, 11.3 lifeguards at the Mavelet Beach, summer 2015. A motion. I will make the motion. I move that the council of the district of Mr. approve the amount as budgeted by the Department of Recreation for lifesavers at Mavelet Beach during the 2015 summer from the end of July until the 15th of July, the 30th of August for the amount indicated. It's a motion that is made every year. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Against, carried. Exemption from municipal taxes. We do every year. Just to give you a bit of history, in 2013 the exemption was $100 for someone whose annual income was under $17,500. In 2014 the amount went up, and last year the exemption went up to $150 to someone whose income was lower than $18,000. This year the exemption would be $150 for someone whose annual income would be under $18,500. So this is an increase of $500. Lester seconds that. Is there any discussion? I would just want to say that the municipal taxes are regressive, and it doesn't look at the ability to pay it. It looks at your assessment. So this is a way of helping people who need help, and I think it's always a good idea to push it up a bit when we can. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor say aye or yes. Against nay. Carried. 11.6. This is support for an airplane flyover for the Lake Dowsett Motor Speedway's opening. So they want their approval for a military low flyby, and this would be at Dowsett Motor Speedway, and that would occur on June the 7th. They've applied to the military, but it was accepted if the municipality gives its permission. It's really impressive, something impressive to see. The festival tried to do that 2 or 3 years ago, and it didn't go through. Well, the Dowsett Motor Speedway succeeded. Is there a motion? Moved by Lester, seconded by Hector. Is there further discussion? All in favor say yes. Against. Carried. 11.7 transfers from the general operating fund to the capital reserve fund. What happens this year in the budget? We put money every year for maintenance on the public works truck and for the sewer system, and for business inspection. Those two departments have each a truck. These trucks are getting old, and we've put money to repair them when it's necessary, but by chance we hadn't spent all the money, and I would like to recommend that in the system, for the sewer system budget, that we have $6,000. There's $6,000 there, and there will be $5,500 in the budget for building inspection. So I would like to send that money into the capital reserve, because we will pretty soon need to buy at least a new truck, and we want to be able to buy it when it's necessary. I move that the municipality of the District of Clare transfer the amount of $6,000 from the sewer general operations budget and $5,500 from the building inspections operation budget to the capital reserve fund, and that such funds be held in reserve for the future replacement of a municipal truck. Is there a seconder? Lester. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor? Against? Carried. 11.8 tender for repairs to the Havelock Community Center. For that we have received 2 bids, and these are good prices. In the middle of the summer, the prices were very high, and we didn't approve it then, so we're going again. And my recommendation would be for the low bidder, who was Shepcom Construction. There were 2 options. One was to put a roof with regular shingles, and the other was to put a metal roof, and when you look at the difference, there's not much of a difference. It would come to about $4,000, and the metal roof will last for life, so I think we should accept that one. And the other one was for repairs to the building. There were hinges, fire escape, gutter system. There were a number of things that needed attention, and this price was a good price for the work required. So my recommendation is that the contract be accorded as interested. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the tendered bid associated with repairs to the Havelock Community Centre for the following work and amounts as submitted by Shepcom Construction Limited on March 20th, 2015. Removal and replacement of roof shingles with metal roof, Phase 1, Option 2, for $27,999.20, and Phase 2, other repairs to building, which would include gutters, window trim, light fixtures, fire escape, etc., for $9,938.30, and these two amounts include taxes. Seconded by Danny. Is there discussion? The roof was leaking. There were pails all over the place, so it's quite urgent. Are there other comments, discussion? All in favor say yes. Contrary minded nay. Carried. We now need a motion to go into camera session. Moved. Seconded. All in favor. We need a motion for adjournment. Seconded by Hector. Good evening.